Welcome, dear Jessydon fam. Today's story will touch your heart. It is about two boys from the dusty village of Aku. One was born with books and light. The other was born with shadows and struggles. But through kindness, loyalty, and gratitude, their lives became forever joined. This is the story of James and Mezie.
In the little village of Aku, where the red dust clung to every footstep, and the evenings carried the sweet smell of roasted yams, two boys grew up as though destiny had tied their souls together. Their names were James and Mezie. The villagers often saw them running barefoot across the dusty paths, chasing chickens until feathers flew, or laughing as they kicked a ragged ball made of rags and old plastic. When the sun was hot, they sat together beneath the wide mango tree in the village square, sharing roasted groundnuts and whispering their childish dreams about the future. However, when each boy returned home, the story split into two distinct worlds. James's house stood firm, built of cement with a steady roof that did not leak when the rains came. His father, a respected teacher at the village primary school, filled their home with books. His mother sold provisions in the market and made sure there was always food on the table. At night, a generator hummed, providing James with light to study. Their walls were decorated with his certificates, his awards, and his report cards, each one polished with the pride of his parents. Mezie's house was different, built of mud, patched with clay, and covered with rusted zinc that rattled in the wind. He stood tired and worn. His father was a farmer who came home with hands cracked and rough, carrying his little harvest for much labor. His mother joined him in the fields. They loved their son dearly, but they did not know the language of books. For them, life was about planting, weeding, and eating, nothing more. Every afternoon, while James opened his exercise book, Mezie's mother placed a heavy tray on his head filled with peanuts or sweets. "Go, my son," she would say, her voice heavy with care and exhaustion. "Sell this, we must eat." So while James bent over his homework in the glow of a lantern, Mezie's young voice cried out in the streets, "Buy your peanuts, fresh peanuts." By the time he returned, night had swallowed the village. His legs were tired, his back ached, and his eyes closed the moment he lay down. There was no room in his life for lessons or numbers. At school, his struggle was written on every page. He failed test after test. Teachers scolded him. Some said he was lazy. Children laughed at him, mocking his mistakes. Each failure pressed on him like a stone, crushing his spirit. He began to believe what the world told him, that he was useless, that he was stupid. He built a wall around his heart, a wall made of shame. One afternoon, James found him beneath their mango tree. Mezie's head was bowed, his shoulders trembling with silent sobs. James sat beside him without a word. After a long pause, he asked softly, "My friend, what is breaking your heart?" That gentle question broke the dam. Mezie wept openly. He told James about the heavy tray, the late nights, the dark house with no light, the parents who could not guide him, and the loneliness of failing again and again. "I want to learn," he whispered, his voice broken. "But the world is too heavy on my shoulders." James's eyes filled with tears. He saw not a lazy boy, but a soul drowning. He reached out, took his friend's hand, and made a promise. "From tomorrow, you will come to my house every morning before school. Just for 1 hour. I will teach you. You will not drown again." That promise saved Mezie's life. At dawn, as the rooster crowed, Mezie would knock on James's door. James's mother greeted him with warmth and often placed bread and tea in his hands. For the first time in his life, Mezie studied on a full stomach. At the table, James explained the lessons patiently, step by step. He lent Mezie his books. He shared his light. Slowly, the fog in Mezie's mind began to lift. He passed a test, then another. His teacher's eyes widened in surprise. Hope began to sprout in his heart. One morning, excited by his progress, Mezie asked, "James, can we study for 2 hours instead of 1? James laughed and agreed. What started as 1 hour became 2. What began as help became a fortress of brotherhood. James gave Mezie more than lessons. He gave him dignity, belief, and hope. Years passed. The 2 boys of Aku became men. They left the red dust roads and stepped into the noise of the city. James, the brilliant scholar, secured a position at a major tech company. He was celebrated, respected, and well paid. His future looked bright. Mezie, carrying the discipline of those early mornings, started small, selling, saving, and building. His business grew little by little until it became a company. From nothing, he created something. He became a man of means. But life, unpredictable and cruel, turned against James. One stormy day, his car collided with another on the highway. The glass shattered, the metal twisted, and his body was broken. He lay in a hospital bed for 7 long months. When he recovered, his company had already forgotten him. He was replaced, discarded like a broken tool. When he could walk again, there was no good job opportunities available. The man once celebrated now wore a supermarket uniform, stacking things on dusty shelves as a sales boy. His spirit bent under the weight of humiliation. One sunny afternoon, a sleek car stopped outside that same supermarket. Out stepped a tall man in an expensive suit. His assistant followed close. It was Mezie, no longer the boy with a tray of peanuts, but now a wealthy CEO. James's heart raced. He shouted with trembling joy, "Mezie, my brother," and rushed towards him. The assistant blocked him sharply. "Step back. Do not disturb my CEO." But Mezie heard his name. He turned. His eyes scanned the thin, weary man in uniform. At first, he saw nothing but a stranger. Then his eyes met James's. In that moment, memories returned. The mango tree, the bread and tea, the lessons are done. "James," Mezie whispered. "Yes," James said, tears shining in his eyes. The briefcase fell from Mezie's hand. He pushed his assistants aside and ran to embrace James. In the middle of the supermarket, the two men wept in each other's arms. Customers stopped. Workers froze. The world seemed to pause to honor their reunion. That evening, Mezie shared the joyful news with his parents. "I found James, my brother, my helper, the one who saved me." But instead of sharing his joy, his mother frowned. Her voice was stern. "Mezie, do not be foolish. That boy is nothing now. He stacks goods in a shop. You are a CEO. People will laugh if they see you working with him. Do not bring him into your company. He is not your equal. Do not shame yourself." The words cut deep, but Mezie's heart blazed with fire. He remembered the heavy tray, the shame of failure, the long walks in the dark, and he remembered James, the boy who gave him light when the world gave him none. He stood tall before his parents and said firmly, "No, you are wrong. When I was beneath everyone, James lifted me up. When you sent me to sell peanuts, he gave me books. When you had no time for my dreams, he gave me his own. Without James, I would be nothing. He is not beneath me. He is my brother. If you ever try to come between us, you will have no place in my life. I built nothing alone, but James built me first." True to his words, Mezie went back to James. He did not offer him pity. He did not offer him a small job. He offered him something far greater. "James," he said, holding his hand, "your mind made me who I am. You are not a sales boy. You are my partner from today. Let us build together." From that day, they walked side by side. James's brilliant ideas and Mezie's fearless drive turned the company into a giant. The company spread across the country, opening branches in every state capital. Their names became known everywhere. Two boys from Akko, once mocked and overlooked, now stood as giants, not because of wealth, not because of luck, but because one friend has chosen gratitude over pride and loyalty over shame. And they did not stop at building themselves. Together, they returned to Akko, the village of their childhood, where red dust still covered the roads and children still carried heavy trays after school. James and Mezie remembered what it meant to struggle in darkness. They rebuilt the village primary school, making sure no child studied under a leaking roof. They installed solar panels so that every classroom had access to light. They filled the library with books and computers, so no child would say again, "I had no light to read by." Every year, they gave scholarships to children from poor families, lifting them from despair into hope. They sat under the same mango tree where they once dreamed as boys, watching children laugh and play, knowing they had changed the story for generations to come. The moral of the story. Never forget the hands that lifted you when you were small. The helper of yesterday may be in need today. And true friendship is not about class, status, or wealth. It is about the bond that time, distance, and hardship cannot break. Gratitude is the crown of every success, and those who wear it will not only raise themselves, but lift others with them. This is where the story ends, but the lessons never end. If you love cautionary folk tales with timeless lessons, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.